Can he shoot America, the political equivalent? Can he blow up the American economy and not lose voters? That's the test of that theory right now.
Did you ever imagine that voting for someone could lead to losing your own job just months later? In this video, I'll reveal the shocking stories of federal workers who voted for Trump only to be fired by his administration. I'll show you why thousands of government employees are now regretting their ballot decisions. And I'll break down exactly how the mass layoffs are being implemented across federal agencies. But first, let me share why many of these workers feel blindsided by the very administration they helped elect. The gap between campaign promises and policy implementation has rarely been more personally felt than in the stories of federal workers who voted for Trump only to lose their jobs under his administration. These workers believed their votes would strengthen the economy and improve their lives, yet instead found themselves victims of sweeping layoffs they never anticipated. Their experiences highlight a powerful lesson about the unexpected consequences of electoral choices and the complex relationship between political support and personal outcomes. Would you believe that thousands of federal employees who supported Trump in November are now unemployed because of his policies? Michael Grownard voted for Trump believing he was the best candidate to improve the economy. His managers had personally assured him his job was safe, giving him confidence in his career trajectory within the federal government. The promise of stability led Grownard to make significant life decisions, including relocating his growing family to Arkansas for what he believed would be long-term employment. 3 months into his new role, Grownard was laid off along with thousands of other federal employees without warning. The termination came as a devastating surprise, especially since he had just moved to Little Rock with his pregnant wife and toddler for what he called his dream job. His family now faces financial uncertainty during what should have been an exciting time of welcoming a new baby. The sudden job loss has created immediate practical challenges for housing, health care, and providing for his family in a new city. While Grownard supports government efficiency in principle, he admits he didn't vote for it to be implemented the way it's being implemented. Despite losing his job, Grownard stands by his vote, saying, "I still support all of the goals of the administration, and I think that I can respectfully disagree with the way those things are carried out." His loyalty to the administration remains intact, even as he grapples with the personal consequences of their policies. This creates an interesting cognitive dissonance between his political beliefs and personal circumstances. His story highlights the personal impact of broad policy decisions on the very voters who supported them. Grownard's experience reveals how quickly government careers can be upended by the very administration workers helped elect. His situation demonstrates the vulnerability of federal employees, particularly those still in probationary periods, regardless of their political alignment. The irony of his circumstance serves as a cautionary tale about the unpredictable outcomes of electoral choices. Have you noticed how campaign promises about government efficiency often look different in execution than voters imagined? The mass layoffs are part of Trump and Elon Musk's stated plan to cut spending and reduce the size of the federal workforce. The administration has justified these cuts as necessary for fiscal responsibility and to eliminate waste in government operations. In recent weeks, they have laid off thousands of probationary federal workers, fired top officials, and convinced 77,000 workers to voluntarily leave their jobs. James Diaz, a veteran recently fired from his job at the IRS, told CNN that while he stands by his vote for Trump, he disagrees with how the administration is handling the mass layoffs.
It didn't make me feel very good. I mean, I put myself in harm's way, for the country. I took a pretty good pay cut to come to work for the government. And next thing you know, 8 months later, I was basically feel like I'm not good enough to, now I know better than that, but that's just how it seems to feel.
His performance reviews consistently indicated he was meeting or exceeding expectations, yet he still lost his position despite his demonstrated competence. Diaz had voted for Trump in 3 consecutive elections, showing long-term loyalty to the candidate whose administration ultimately terminated his government career. His military service background makes his dismissal particularly poignant, as veterans have traditionally received preference in federal hiring. His criticism suggests the administration is prioritizing the appearance of decisive action over strategic workforce planning. Diaz's experience raises serious questions about whether the administration's approach to workforce reduction is strategic or simply sweeping and indiscriminate. The efficiency argument made during the campaign appealed to many voters who supported reducing government spending. Many federal workers who voted for Trump believed government restructuring would target waste while preserving essential services and high-performing employees. The reality has revealed a less discriminating approach that appears to value speed over strategic evaluation. The disconnect between campaign rhetoric about smart government reduction and the actual implementation highlights how voters often cannot anticipate how broadly stated policy goals will translate into specific actions. What happens when the candidate you supported implements policies that directly harm your own livelihood? Some fired workers maintain their support for Trump despite their job losses, creating a fascinating psychological study in political loyalty. Others, however, express clear regret about their electoral choices as they face unemployment directly resulting from their vote.
Yeah, it's hard from my perspective to approach the current administration with hope.
This spectrum of reactions reveals how differently people reconcile their political values with personal consequences. Riley Cooper presents perhaps the most personal example of voters' remorse. She voted for Trump in November because he promised to make in vitro fertilization available for free, a critical issue for her after doctors told her IVF might be her only option for conceiving a child.
You know, I've been dealing with infertility now for about a year. I've had multiple surgeries in my life. So, going into the voting booth, the main thing on my mind was the same thing I'd been thinking about for the past 11 months. And it was, I want to be a mom.
Last month, Cooper was laid off from her job at the U.S. Forest Service, losing her income at the very time she needed financial stability. Cooper now regrets her vote.
For me, in that moment, it took me a while, and I made a decision that, looking back, I'm not proud of, but it's the reality of my situation now.
Riley, do you now regret the way you voted for Trump?
I do feel regret.
While the administration frames these cuts as necessary efficiency measures, the human stories behind the numbers reveal a more complex picture of how government downsizing affects real people, including those who supported the very policies now impacting them. The experiences of federal workers who voted for Trump only to be laid off by his administration reveal a profound truth about the relationship between electoral choices and personal consequences. When voters cast their ballots based on broad policy promises or single issues, they may not anticipate how those same policies could directly impact their own livelihoods, creating a disconnect between voting booth decisions and real-world outcomes. These stories serve as a powerful reminder that policy decisions that seem abstract during campaigns can have very concrete consequences for real people, including those who supported them at the ballot box. The lessons from these federal workers' experiences highlight the importance of looking beyond campaign promises to understand how policies might be implemented in practice. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful political and policy breakdowns. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on how voters should evaluate campaign promises against potential personal impacts.